I first arrived and began my journey within Japan February 14th, 2007.
Big red dot. The dark dot. Side.
What is up, everybody? Unrested back with another big red dot. The best of the best is from the east to the west is. But this isn't really going to be a big red dot because I'm not going to cover any news today. I'm actually going to cover a little video I posted yesterday. It was actually on my Horror Kingdom channel, and people were wondering about this. I had just done a live stream where I was actually waiting for a viewer who had some discrepancies with my channel, some problem with my channel, was angry at my channel, a hater of my channel, to come on and please, if you have a big enough problem that you want to constantly harass me with comments, emails, Facebook messages, and actually emails to my personal Gmail account, I said, you know what, just come on and voice it here. I am ready to take you on live, let you scream at me in front of my viewers, and argue your point. Because this guy has been harassing me for, God, almost like we're going on like 2 years or something now. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try and put an end to this. I'll give this guy his own little platform to get out here and yell at me. He can try and argue his points, and I'll be happy to argue them back from my side. And his biggest push, I guess his biggest motivation for hating on me is he says I should leave Japan. He says that he's a Japanese person who wants me to leave Japan, which as you may find out as I explain a little bit more of this, I don't think he actually is a Japanese person. I think he's not Japanese at all. I think he's just somebody who really wants to live in Japan and is angry that he has to watch somebody else live in Japan. I've had this happen in the past, surprisingly. One time with a French viewer who was very angry that I lived in Japan, and he would write me messages that he hoped my family would die, and that he said that when his visa was done and that he had to leave Japan, he thought it would be appropriate if I also left Japan, because if he couldn't stay here, why should I get to? Which I don't really see the sense in that. The reason I'm staying here is due to a valid visa. If my visa continues to be valid, I don't see any reason why I should have to listen to anybody's idea as to why I should go home. Anyway, haters. Today's video is about haters. And I guess let me just give you some background. I know right away people are going to be like, Scott, if you've got haters, why don't you just block that hater? And to be quite honest, I don't really block a lot of people on my channel. Even a lot of troll comments, shit comments, trash talking, I actually leave almost all of it on my channel. I very rarely ever block anybody. The most that will make me block somebody usually is if someone gets into like some sort of racist rant or something that's just very bigoted. I'll delete that just pretty much for all the other viewers. I feel like nobody needs to be exposed to that. No one needs to take that. And although it may not offend me because I've got a thicker skin from doing YouTube for 10 years, that doesn't mean all my viewers do, and I don't expect them to get abused. If it starts to reach into abusing my viewers, that's when I finally block or delete somebody. But this guy actually had blocked because he had reached a point where he was like trying to find out where I lived, threatening to come to my house. And the weird thing, once again, is like I said, I'm not sure if the guy was actually Japanese. He said he was. I'm also not sure if he lived in Japan. He said he did, but he would say some things that made me think otherwise, because anyone who's lived here for quite a long time knows some signs that someone is pretending to live in Japan. And yes, I do get viewers who pretend to live in Japan, and it's weird. It's so weird that the whole world of YouTube is so weird sometimes. I guess let me just put to rest. Yes, I did block him. I blocked him on my YouTube channel. I blocked him on Google+, I blocked him on Facebook, but he was still able to reach me via my Gmail. There isn't really a way to block persons on Gmail. It'll go to your spam mail, but it'll still show up, and I really like to keep my whole Gmail super clean, so that was annoying me that he was still showing up there. So, pretty much that's why I invited him to come onto a live stream and get out his anger. The things that made me think he didn't actually live in Japan, here's just a couple. And I mean, in the comments below, feel free to tell me, like, Scott, that's not a good reason. He might actually have lived in Japan. Number one, he kept asking for my address to show up to my house, I guess, to threaten me. And he said, I'm not scared to share mine. Here's my address. And he sent me his address, and I checked it, of course, on Google Maps to see is this guy legit really sending me his address? Because that is insanity. And I checked and it was OCAT Station. If you don't know what OCAT Station is, it's a station in the middle of Namba that connects to the airport bus and many of Japan's train lines as far as those running all through Osaka. So I feel like unless he was like homeless there, I don't think he was telling the truth. And then the second thing he said, he was like, yo, if you can't meet me at that place, then just at least meet me at Namba Station and we'll fight. And I was like, all right, look, even if I was going to do that, that doesn't make sense. Namba Station is like miles long. Like that would be like choosing like a 5 kilometer radius and say, meet me there in that 5 kilometer wide radius and we will fight. Like you wouldn't even be able to see each other or find each other, or you would get so lost in the maze of just hallways and train stations within Namba Station, because I mean it connects Midasuji, Tanimachi, Yotsubashi, Kintetsu, JR, so many lines. Like there's just no way it just sounds really ridiculous to say meet me there. Like it's just such a massive station. It'd be like saying, you know, meet me in Atlanta's International Airport. Like where? And I don't know how we would ever find each other there, even if you really did want to find me there and meet me there and beat me there. Again, don't ever do that. Don't ever try to meet somebody to fight them fist to fist or face to face. You know, maybe I've tried to say that I would do stuff like that when I was younger and doing YouTube, and I was in my 20s and more aggressive and angry and speaking too emotionally. There's no reason you should ever do that, especially in Japan. I mean, you can end up with all kinds of legal problems after that, especially if you like land a punch. So don't risk, you know, getting arrested for some stupid hater. But it did interest me that he was sending me that much information. So, you know, on top of it, I said, look, it appears like you don't actually live in Japan, because the things you were saying seem very odd. Like people living in Japan wouldn't normally say this. For example, I don't even think you speak Japanese. And just to test him out, I wrote to him in Japanese, like kind of an insult in Japanese. It wasn't anything too much. It was just kind of like, why are you such a pathetic person who keeps harassing me? And I pretty much said it in Japanese. And he sent me something back he had written in Japanese, but I was pretty sure he had used Google Translate, because it was an insult kind of saying like, you're such a pathetic person or something like that. But he had ended it with des. So he had written it in Keigo, which, if those of you who don't know, who aren't deep into studying Japanese yet, that's polite language. You know, probably most of you know, if you know even the slightest bit about Japanese, that there's casual and there's polite Japanese, and you do not use polite Japanese when you're trying to insult somebody or argue with them or fight with them or yell at them. It would sound ludicrous. You know, it would be like in English if you were like, I do say, my fine sir, this is very uncouth. Like, you know, you would be like, okay, I guess you're trying to fight me. Like you would never assume somebody was trying to argue with you or fight with you. You'd think that they were trying their best to still continue to be polite, whereas this guy was obviously very angry because everything he was saying in English, which also, again, his English was like too good. I know that sounds strange. You're like, what do you mean too good? He spoke English too well to actually be, you know, Japanese. For the most part, I can usually tell when someone's speaking English, or Japanglish as I call it. And it's very rare. It's very rare that you find somebody in Japan who writes perfect, grammatically correct sentences to you. And every time this guy did, and he was using like a lot of slang that just Japanese people, even if they were fluent, wouldn't know, unless they actually lived in America, which pretty sure this guy lived in America. Anyway, let's get into like some things I want to just talk to you guys about, like if you deal with haters, because I actually get written to about this a lot. People not wanting to start channels because they deal with haters in other sorts of social networking or media, or haters in their real life. And let me just stamp that out real quick about why you should just not worry about haters. You're going to deal with them no matter what all through your life, just like you're going to deal with drama at every job you ever work at. So don't quit a job because of drama. And the next job you go to is going to have its own version of drama. Number one, don't let them interrupt your time, okay? If they're saying something that doesn't perturb you enough to even answer it, then just don't even answer it. You know, leave it up there on your channel. Who cares? If you have very loyal fans, which I do, if you have very loyal viewers and great viewers like you guys, like I have, a lot of time you guys end up just putting them in their place to begin with, and I don't come right in and say it, but I appreciate the hell out of the people who do stuff like that, who jump in and are like, no, he actually said this in the video, you idiot. You obviously didn't watch it. And I'm just like, well, I didn't do nothing there. I didn't say nothing at all. But I mean, this guy obviously heard it and you didn't, so thank you. You know, it's kind of like nudge, nudge, wink, wink, thanks, man. Okay? If they bother you too much and take up too much of your time, or you find yourself writing back and forth to them in some sort of like verbal fight, just block them. Block them after that. That's the next thing to go to. Next, don't let them interrupt your life. Don't let them make you so angry that you start obsessing over their comments or whatever they've written you or whatever their messages are. Unless it gets to where it was at with me, where they were like starting to threaten to come to your house. And that's where, I started to get like, okay, I've got a family to protect. I've got to take this serious. And I'll tell you how I resolved all this at the end of this video. So just stay tuned. I'm sorry this is going a little bit long, but I want to get through all these. Don't let them disturb your life. Don't let them interrupt your daily cycle of getting sleep, of working, of paying attention to your loved ones, your family, the people who are actually important in your life. If they're interrupting stuff like that, you are spending way too much time on your haters. A hater's biggest punishment in life, their absolute biggest punishment, is the fact that they live their life. If someone is so angry and so perturbed with you that they can't let go of something that you've just said in a video or just commented on Facebook, they're definitely dealing with some sort of massive pain themselves, whether it be mental or physical or I don't know. And their biggest punishment is living their life. Let them just live their life and endure their own punishment. There's nothing you're going to say or do that will make their life any worse, I guess, aside unless you want them like a psycho killing spree. Don't do that. So just, block, delete, and grow bigger. I think that's one of the best things you can do. Block, delete, grow your channel bigger. Block, delete, grow your social presence bigger. Your Instagram, your Tumblr, whatever you do. Block, delete the haters, grow that channel, get bigger. The biggest thing that will piss them off and be the best revenge is your happy life and your success. I can't reiterate this enough. The biggest smack across that face is going to be you blowing up big on whatever project you're doing or whatever thing they don't like that you're doing. Continue it and continue it tenfold. Next, don't let it mess with your creativity, okay? If there's something you've done and you enjoyed the hell out of that project, if it was a passion project and this person just wants to wipe out everything you just put into that and hit you with a load of hate, remember this saying, and I got this from Casey Neistat, straight up stealing it from this guy: haters hate, creators create, okay? I don't think there is a better little rhyme to remember when it comes to dealing with your haters, okay? That's all haters do. What have they done with their life since you've made that video or you've made that media creation? They've spent all their time hating. What's the most that they've accomplished? Maybe they, wounded you slightly verbally. Maybe they talk some trash on your video. Maybe somebody else even noticed their comment and said, yeah, that's right. Okay, so they've convinced maybe one or two other people, while meanwhile you've got, 400, 200 likes on your video. They've hated. That's all they've done. Meanwhile, you've created. You've done something. You've added something to the world, and it's most likely something positive if you've created some sort of media that informs, teaches, or has people learning something. I want to end it on that pretty much and just say the way that I resolved this hater that I was dealing with was I actually reached a point where after I had blocked him on everything and I was still receiving harassing emails that said that he was going to show up to my house, I eventually let my family lawyer know, and he wrote him a nice little letter, and guess what? Ceased and desist, MFer. Let's be honest, guys. If it comes down to a fight, don't ever get into a physical fight. Get legal. Don't have to get physical, all right? If you absolutely are pushed to that point where someone's threatening to come to your house, especially if you have kids, I've got a 3 and a 5-year-old, I've got a wife, I've got them to protect. They're far more important than anything on my channel. Get legal, all right? Don't ever worry about getting physical threats. And don't type out physical threats either. Don't call and try to yell physical threats. You can actually get yourself in trouble for that. Threatening via email, a message, or a phone call can actually get you arrested. So don't waste your time doing something like that either. Get legal. If you already have a lawyer that you don't have to, buy out to get his time, if you already are a client of somebody and you don't need to retain that lawyer, just have them send a quick email like I did. And guess what? They shut up real quick like this guy did. And again, I'm not going to mention the guy's name. I don't want to give him any kind of publicity. I don't want to, boost any kind of whatever he's working on. If he's ever working on anything, probably not, because like I said, haters hate, creators create. And I want to just say to you guys, keep your chin up, keep creating. If you've thought about starting a channel before and you're worried about haters, know that not only will I stand up for you if you let me know that you started a channel because you were watching my stuff and started your own thing. I've stood up for people like that in the past who were like, I was worried and then you told me not to worry about haters and I started my channel. I've gone onto their channels and if they've had like brutal haters, I've been like, guys, you need to quiet it down. This guy's trying his best. We all start somewhere. Go back and look at video number 1 on my channel. I suck, okay? Be positive, keep your head up, make whatever you want to make, create whatever passion project you want to create. Spit on your lips like I just did. And, create. Be that creator. Don't be the hater. Until next time, I'm Unrested. This is Big Red Dot. You guys have a good one.
I am unrested.